Hey, what's going on, guys? Terry here. Um, Today's date is December 7th, 2012. Um, had a few things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. First of all, um, I wanted to talk to you guys about certain phone apps that you're going to need while you're riding, um, or that I recommend while you're riding. Also, I'm going to talk to you about maps that you might possibly, or map apps that you might possibly need, navigation maps, or navigation apps, I should say, that you're possibly going to need. Also, doing a little bit of research on which routes you're going to take, whether it be a short trip or a long trip. Also, I'm going to also talk to you about a little bit about PMCS. And for you guys that were never in the military, PMCS is uh, preventive maintenance checks and services. Okay, not PMS, PMCS. Okay, just to let you guys know that. First of all, let's talk about a few apps that you might need. If you got a smartphone, more than likely you're going to have most of these apps already on there. You're going to need an internet browser, of course, which your phone should automatically come with an internet browser if you got a smartphone, and especially one with a touch screen. Um, you're going to need um, an app for your weather, a weather app. The one I've got on here, really don't like it that much, um, but it does give me an up-to-date uh, uh, temperature guide. Okay, right now, according to this, it's 68 degrees out. Feels like 69. It just dropped a degree, basically. Matter of fact, I think it dropped. No, I just dropped a degree. According to this, the wind's 0 mile per hour. There's no wind right now. This particular app is from AccuWeather.com. That's ACCU weather.com. Okay, not a bad app. I mean, you can put all kinds of cities in there, but if you're going to be doing a lot of traveling, like cross country, like say if you start from New York and go all the way to California, every area that you're going to go into, every town that you're going to go through, you might want to put on there, add it on there, and then check the weather for that particular city or town or whatever as you're going through it, or before you go through it. That way you can make sure that you're not going to hit any bad weather. And if you are going to hit any bad weather, you'll know it ahead of time. And it's a good idea to check it every time you stop. Say, if you're riding and you want to stop every 100 miles, which is a good idea to do. If you're riding for a long trip, you want to stop about every 100 miles to fill up, or or check the weather, or just walk around a little bit and stretch your legs. Another good app to have is Google Maps. Okay, now if you got a smartphone, you should automatically have a navigation app installed, and it comes usually standard with every smartphone. And the one I have is actually pretty good. I use it quite often, especially if I'm new to an area or whatever. I'll use it just in case, I don't want to get lost. And a lot of times these apps, um, these especially the navigation app, if you zoom in on it a little bit, it'll give you almost a perfect detailed direction every time. A lot of people can't follow these GPS apps, but if you think about it, it's the most. I mean, it's the easiest thing to use on your phone. Mine is actually voice activated, and I can actually say where I want to go, and it will bring it up, and I can tap on it, you know, the destination or whatever, and it'll take me there. Got this gnat flying around in here. You want a good internet app, and you also want a fuel calculator. It's a good thing to have. I have a tip calculator on here. It usually works pretty good. Also, you want apps where you can actually keep track or keep in tabs with your significant other, or if you've told somebody that you're going to make this trip across country, you want to be able to keep in contact with them just in case something happens. I use Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. If I want to upload video or whatever. Another good thing about these phones is that you can take really good pictures, and if you want to make a scrapbook later on, or upload the pictures to YouTube or whatever, or pictures to Facebook, you can do it automatically from the phone, which is a good feature. Also, video. If you want to upload video straight to YouTube, I mean, it'll do it, but it takes a little bit of time, and you're going to have to leave your phone on. With that in mind, you're going to have a charging system on your motorcycle. Now, for mine, I have a 12-volt power outlet right here on the handlebars, and this particular model of power outlet, I had to put on with zip ties. So I've got 2 zip ties holding this down, and it seems to work pretty good. I've got the cords running along underneath this piece on top of the gas tank, all the way down underneath the seat and down to the battery, which is located here. With that in mind, you're also going to need something to hold your cell phone, and I recommend this little baby right here. It's made by Scosche. That's spelled Scosche. Okay, and I'll put a link in the description of where you can find these, or you can go to Walmart. Walmart carries them. Most likely you're going to find them anywhere vehicle accessories are sold, and this one is specifically made for motorcycles or bicycles or whatever you're using it for. Okay. And if I can get that back on there without breaking it. There we go. Good thing about that is that the wings on it spread out so you can put your phone in it, and it works pretty good. Another thing that we're going to talk about is, like I said, PMCS, Preventive Maintenance Checks and Services. Now, for you guys that were in the military, you know what that is. It's not PMS, it's PMCS. Okay. First of all, you want to be able to check you want to be able to make sure your mirrors are good. I had to adjust this one because it was really loose, and you can adjust it by here or down here closer to the throttle control and the front brake. Probably the easiest adjustment I have ever made on a mirror on a motorcycle ever, especially this bike. The other thing you want to check is you want to make sure you check your battery. Make sure you keep your battery good, and your battery is usually located on the right side of your motorcycle. Some of these bikes, you're not going to find the battery here so accessible. It's going to be right underneath the seat, and for that, on the V-Stars, you're going to need this tool right here, or this set of tools. Okay. Now, usually It is the third one down from the biggest one. And you just unscrew it. Should just pop right off. As you can see, I've got, well, you might be able to see it, these red wires right here. That is from the power supply. Pretty easy to take on and off this case, this cover. Getting it back in. Whole different ball game. Sometimes not that easy. Sometimes you gotta beat it on there a little bit. Sometimes the bolt is a little harder to get back in, but once you get it started, you shouldn't have any problem with it. You want to make sure that everything's still secure. That way you're not melting your plastic. Some of these are fiberglass. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure there's nothing rubbing anywhere. Make sure it's up off the engine. Okay, this should be good. And it's usually this one right here goes right here. It would be the 3/16 or 3/18. I think it's 3/18. But these little tools come in handy just about for everything, especially with these newer bikes. You can even take off your air filter cover and check your air filter. Now, with that in mind, usually all these are very, very important, because everything on your bike, everything that's outer cover or engine wise that you see here, you can take off with these tools. They make extensions for screwdrivers that have these particular sizes, and it comes in really handy. I'm just telling you, you'll never mess up with these. Okay, another thing you want to check, like I said, is your air filter. You want to make sure it's good. Your brakes. There's a problem with these bikes, is that the rear brake, which is down here, you have to push on it pretty hard sometimes to get the rear light to light up. I'm telling you right now, if you don't adjust it the way it's supposed to be, then you can have a serious problem. Because if somebody's behind you and you don't hit this brake, but you hit this brake and it doesn't light up, they're not going to know if you're slowing down or not. Sometimes they can be able to tell, sometimes they're not even paying attention. So you could probably get rear-ended. Just make sure that you adjust it to the proper specs. If you got the manual for the bike, make sure you do a little bit of research on it with the manual, or Google it or whatnot to get that fixed. Now also, your front brake, you want to make sure that your front brake is working fine. I know these are disc brakes. I've got a disc brake on the front and a drum brake on the back. I would rather have disc brakes all the way around, but at this point in time, that's not going to happen. I need a bigger bike for that. Sometimes you'll find the bigger bikes have 2 disc brakes, one on each side, and that's all good and dandy. I mean, I love dual front disc brakes. It makes stopping power a lot easier, a lot better. You want to make sure your headlights your turn signals work on both the front and the rear. You want to make sure you have the proper reflectors, which you can't see it in the video, but there's reflectors on the front and the rear. Also, you want to make sure that your license plate and the light on the back. On this one right here, it has a light on the top of the well, it's in the same housing as the brake light, and whenever you're riding, it actually shines up onto the license plate. You want to make sure that's working, because a lot of highway patrol will pull you over just for not having that light working. So every time you want to ride at night or whatever, make sure you have that working. Now, there's a lot of parts on this bike that are not stock parts. First of all, this piece right here, I know you can see it. This piece right here actually goes with the backrest. This was not the original seat back here. I know, because when I purchased this bike, they had another one just exactly like it, and of course it wasn't running, or I would have bought it. But it didn't have a backrest. It just had another seat that came back into a point. But this piece right here, along with that, is custom. Also, the Vance & Hines exhaust that I have on this bike, normally you wouldn't have Vance & Hines exhaust on a V-Star Classic. You would just have the stock exhaust. Makes it a little bit louder, and a little bit more of a pain in the ass when you're trying to hear things around you. A lot of people will use earplugs when they're riding, so they won't lose their hearing, or they won't lose any more hearing than they probably already have. Me personally, I like to hear the sound of the engine. That way I know if anything's going wrong with it. Sometimes you'll hear little clicks in the engine, and you're trying to figure out what the hell it is and why it's there. Sometimes these bikes take a little bit to warm up. My recommendation is when you first start it, make sure you choke it all the way, choke it full choke. It doesn't matter what the weather is, hot, cold, don't matter. Just make sure you full choke, let it run for a few, like a minute or so, half choke, leave it running, and let it get back up to the RPMs where it's supposed to be at, and then take the choke completely off. Do not, and I say this, because it's happened to me before. Do not ride this motorcycle with the choke on. Okay? Do not throttle the bike with choke on. Okay? When you first start it, no problem. Give it a little bit of fuel. This is a carbureted system. With fuel injected, you don't have to do that. But with carbureted systems, you got to give it just a little bit of fuel. That way, it'll start right away. A lot of times, people will get on their bikes and they'll ride it with a choke wide open. You don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. It'll mess up the seats and the carburetor. It'll mess up the way the fuel flows through the carburetor. And it's also really hard on the engine. So you want to make sure that you're not messing up the bike at all. Another thing I want to talk to you guys about is a couple of good things that you might need for even a short trip, and that's a tire gauge. Make sure you always have a tire gauge. You can go to any advanced Auto Parts, Napa, AutoZone, and even Walmart will carry these. And sometimes you can pick them up anywhere between $1 and $2. I think the most I ever paid for a tire gauge was $2, which is a fair price for a tire gauge. I mean, it beats the hell out of getting down the road and finding out that your tires are low. Also, another thing you might need, especially if you're out riding at night and you want to check your tires, you might need a little bitty flashlight. And I carry one on a keychain here. This one I got from Wyotech, the Wyotech Recruiter, and it actually works pretty good. I mean, I kind of like it. I mean, it's pretty neat. But it doesn't matter what kind of flashlight you use. On this bike, you can carry some tools, and what I like about it, it's got a storage space on the other side of the bike. I usually carry some wrenches, some wire cutters, and a little bit of extra wire and whatnot in there. That way I can do minor repairs on the bike. That way I'm not stuck out somewhere if a fuse blows. I carry some fuses with me or whatever. But this little bitty light, it doesn't matter if you got a big mag light or a little bitty flashlight, you know, a little bitty mag light or whatever, which mag lights are the top of the line, the best flashlights you can get. They're heavy, heavy duty, and very sturdy, and the battery lasts a long time in them if you keep them turned off and you keep an eye on them. But it's always good to carry a little bitty flashlight with you, just in case, you know, you're out riding at night and something happens and you have to do some checks on the bike or whatever. As far as tires go, tires is what makes, you know, the bike stay on the road. So make sure you're always checking your tires, and always checking before and after you ride, because a lot of times you'll pick up something on the road. Specifically after you ride, you want to check, but it's always a good practice to check before you get on the bike as well. My front tire is kind of worn. My rear tire, on the other hand, is pretty much brand new. I haven't had it on there for very long. I just got it changed September, so I shouldn't need another rear tire for a while. But my front tire, I'm definitely going to have to get it changed. I'll probably do it myself when I go down to Wyotech in beginning of January. But anyways, that's it for now. I just wanted to keep you guys up to date on what you possibly need to do and what not to do as far as the bike's concerned. If you have any questions or anything, I will leave a link in the description of where you can get a few of these items, such as the mag lights or whatnot. Also, I'll leave a link in the description for Google Maps and a few other things. You want to make sure, this is another thing I want to talk to you guys about just real quick. Make sure that when you're doing research, for your trips, it doesn't matter if it's just, like I said, a short trip or a long trip, make sure you check curves, and make sure you check traffic conditions, weather, all of that, because if you don't, then you're going to end up, you know, in a bad situation, a sticky situation where you might be able to get out of it, but I guarantee you'll learn from the experience. But anyways, that's it. I will talk to you guys later.